you know, at the end of the fiscal year, so when they go back and they look at our audit, June 30, 2012, they won't see this. They might question, because, you know, you're at a $3.2 million additional deficit, how did you pay bills on that, you know, point in time? You know, what it looks like, and they might note that it looked like you might have borrowed from some reserve funds because the money wasn't there, and you were in a deficit.
So we think it's better accounting in case of question.
Oh, in case, okay.
I think CW Plant Moran, they've acknowledged too with us and the Treasury that if you do it, as long as you note it, it's not wanted, it's not, you know, it's not something that's an expectation.
It's the best way to account for it, though, to make sure that if we are questioned, it's there on the record.
And if I might just follow up on that.
Sure.
And if we don't do it, we won't have money in the general fund to pay the bills. I mean, and I or Treasurer Cleary don't want to be in a position of saying, we don't have any money in the general fund, we need to pay, you know, $500,000 of payroll this week. Let's just move some money from the water fund.
No, right, yeah.
We want to have the authorization to do this.
When was the last time the water account was reconciled?
It's reconciled monthly, so I assume we did the March one sometime in mid to late April.
And the current balance is?
I think the current balance is $8.5 million or so.
I didn't see that on the sheet, so.
I think it's 8.4, Dave.
That's the water. I don't recall.
We can have that number for
The
tomorrow,
water main
right?
project has to
But
come out of
That's
that.
it's 8 million on that.
The water main project has to come out of that.
Councilman, my suggestion would probably be that they actually go with the sewer, because there are water projects out there to get the time with the EDA grant, to get the other stuff that we're approving engineering for, so those aren't sewer-based projects, those are water-based projects, so I think there's $8 million in the sewer.
That I don't remember.
Well, that was
It's
my
a fair
next
amount.
question, what,
I was gonna say 4 or 5,
I
but
think there's
Is
4
it,
or
I thought it was
5,000.
the other way around.
no, the water I know has to be.
Water, less than sewer.
Okay, so, again, we wouldn't be taking out the full $4 million, it would be, okay, there's no cash in the accounts at this point in time, how much do we need, then we borrow from it at that point. We don't want to maximize how much interest we're still gonna pay.
Right, I was gonna say we only take out as we need, right?
Lynn?
I just wanted to reiterate, part of that motion also stipulates that all these monies will be paid by October. So this is not a long-term loan, this is just to get us through those 2 months, like I saw you nodding your head about school, cash flow. This is basically the same thing.
When we get our tax.
When we get our tax money in, and then we can replenish that
yeah,
account
you
right
always
away.
went to a bank to get you, didn't you?
Yeah, well, quite frankly, I wish I'd had that, because it's a lower interest rate than what the school rate fund charges, and what tax notes are because of our credit rating. I would be a little leery of that interest rate for a bank. And they're more than welcome.
And it's more difficult too to get a short-term loan like that for any of the.
They don't want us to pay it back by October.
Right.
I was just more worried about the controls.
If you went somewhere else, they'd let you get one.
Sure, they would.
What we'll do
Dennis?
basically, I mean, the intent is to, using this $4 million guideline is, maybe draw $1 million, and then draw another $1 million if needed, and draw another $1 million if needed. But basically do it on an as-needed basis, but not borrow $283,610.04, tomorrow, but do it in somewhat round amounts, and just keep track of that and make the interest calculation relatively straightforward.
Does that answer your question, Dennis?
No, I'm not done.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm,
Yeah, I thought,
John's
I'm sorry,
done.
John, go ahead.
You mentioned major projects for the water department. How many of those are there, and what would the value of those be?
Well, the EDA grant, the trolley drive, that we have a matching, that'll be over 2 fiscal years. So, water is total responsibility, recall, Eric?
900,000.
900,000 total. The other was Act 50, part of Act 51, correct? The other 900. Remember, it's a $1.8 million we're getting from the feds. and we match 1.8. So those are both for, is that sewer or water? It's water main?
Water, yeah, it's 1.4 each. 1.4.
2.8, sorry, 2.8. So 900,000 this year, within this fiscal year. But that project, we're out September something, right? Or
Yes, right.
we really start, he's drawing, I guess,
September what?
this year. Before you start drawing anything against this year's portion of necessary funds. The Van Born project, TIF was paying for that section. The
South of that CDBG,
South of that's-
between Telegraph and Pine.
Okay, have we ever done this before? Borrowed money from the water department, or the water?
I don't think formally like this,
But informally,
Formally,
maybe informally, but we've never had a deficit like this.
right, we're under such scrutiny now, we have to really, probably.
Well, that's really
prioritize.
what that's
Yeah.
really a large part of my concern, is the scrutiny. I don't know, I don't know, how the state, is going to look at this. We didn't get anywhere with the suggestion that we could borrow this, money from the water department to, water and sewer, fund, if you will, to take care of our deficit, so we could have kept that right here at home and wouldn't have to be going back and forth to Lansing. So I don't know about this. Has the water commission okayed this?
We did get clarification from Patrick McCauley, that Water Commission is an advisory. They are receiving and filing this notion for their information. They're not it's not approval. We were happy to take it to them if that was the case, but because it's financing that's in the city, then it wasn't something that they want, so they may not be happy, I don't know if they- but
a legal opinion on this would make me feel like
I'm
that.
Dennis,
I
I'm
was-
sorry, I can't hear you.
which part?
Hear your question?
I said a legal opinion on this whole thing, the interest and so forth, would make me feel a lot better.
Did we find that out before, if we could do it? Did we ask someone, or is it written down, or, I mean, how did we know we could do it?
How do you describe this one? One of those ones where, there's no specific authority that says you can do it. So you do it, and you do it in a rational manner, and formalize it and charge interest and whatnot, so everyone then says, well, yeah, that makes sense, they did it in the right way. There's no specific authority that you can point to that says you can do this, so then, and that's it, basically. There's nothing, an attorney couldn't write and say that this is the specific authority that allows you to do it.
And because, if my understanding is correct, and maybe I'm wrong, but I know the golf courses are separate enterprises, but wasn't there a time when the money just all came into the city, and then they got more? I mean, did it all just kind of, even though they're a separate enterprise?
Specifically with respect to the golf course, you're saying? Well, I mean, the golf course
I mean, so-
essentially owes money to the general fund all the time, so.
Oh, so it
So
didn't matter.
what we do internally is, basically, golf courses collect money during a month, and then toward the end of the month, we.
So if the water
send it over to
department
the
was
general fund
broke,
to pay off.
and the general fund was more lucrative, they'd have to probably get money from the general fund to survive. I think that's what I'm saying, when you have separate enterprise, and it's a part of your city,
Raise prices there.
and when you're, this hand is working, I mean, when you have all your pods, but it's all for the betterment of the city,
Can't do that
as long as you do it,
taxes.
as you said, a rational, honest way, make it very public, plain that you're doing that. I think we've done it reverse, is what I said before, because we would fund the golf course. And if need be, we could have funded the water department, or whatever we needed to do to survive as a community. So I don't think that would be anything terrible, is what I'm saying.